Myrtle was 5 years old when she died here, and she was buried on the property, but her whole family is now buried behind the Presbyterian Church at the Riverside Cemetery. And there are many stories, as you can imagine, about Myrtle and about the house being haunted. I have no idea where these came from, whether parents told their children stories about seeing things that were strange, or whether they just put the idea in their heads. I don't know, but maybe you can find out.
Oneonta's oldest surviving structure was built in 1807 by Lawrence Swart, a Revolutionary War veteran from Schoharie County. For more than 2 centuries, this home has stood as a silent witness to generations that have come and went. Its walls absorbing their stories, their triumphs, and their tragedies. In all that time, it only changed families once. The Wilcox family were its final residents, remaining here until the last member passed away in 1970. 2 years later, the city of Oneonta purchased the property. And by 1999, the once dilapidated home had been fully restored to its former glory. But during the restoration, something strange began to happen. Workers and visitors reported eerie sights, shadowy figures appearing in the windows, faint footsteps in empty rooms, whispers that seemed to come from nowhere. No other paranormal team has been granted access to investigate this historic home. Until now. Join me, Jason Hawes, and my team as we step inside to uncover the secrets that still echo within these walls.
All right, JV, still in your neck of the woods, man.
We are, and this is really important to me and personal to me in a lot of ways. I really enjoy the fact that we're able to get to these places and check out things that I grew up with. And there have been a lot of rumor mills about some of these places. There's been a lot of stories, and it's really nice to be able to check them out.
And we are at the oldest standing property in Oneonta.
Yeah, it was the original homestead here. It was one of the original land grants from King George, I guess. It started at the river, which is just on the other side of the elementary school here, and it extended a mile to my back. That's how big this thing was. It was like many hundred acres. And this was the house they built close to the river, so they had a good water source, and they started life here as pioneers, basically.
And we are pretty secluded. I mean, there's a school here, of course, but it's not in session. They don't start back until next week. I mean, we're pretty pushed back away from everything.
Yeah, this has been a pretty secluded area until they built the school in 65, I think it was, somewhere in there, 1965. And when they did that, this was all run down. It was about ready to collapse. And then a group of teachers at one point decided they wanted to make something of it, and they wanted to be able to share the history. And thankfully they did. They saved the property.
And in 1986, 4 teachers from the Oneonta City School District decided that maybe we should go look at it. Might make a nice museum. So the mayor brought us in January. It was colder inside than out. We took a look at it, and we oohed and we ahed, and we talked to each other, and the mayor just rolled his eyes. Mrs. Helen Reese, who was the librarian at Greater Plains School, Dawn Minette, who was an elementary teacher there, and Tina Morris, who was the art teacher, and myself, who was also a Greater Plains teacher.
And now the claims here, it's not like these claims are all crazy here. The claims that go on here are more generational. They've been passed down from parents to their kids, and just told about walking by here, seeing people in the windows, seeing people walking by the windows when nobody was here. Strange things like strange lights, even though, and you got to wonder, because strange lights, is it candle lights? Because there was no electricity in this
Never
house.
had electricity when people were living here.
It pretty much just got it, within the last 20 years, they've been trying to fix it up.
Nor did they have indoor plumbing.
That's right, yeah.
They used a dry sink, and they grabbed water from a well. They lived primitively right up until the last Wilcox family member died in 1970, I believe it was. And at that point, still no electricity, no running water.
So it's an interesting property. Why would you see lights in the windows when there's no electricity? Makes you wonder if it's candlelight, like they're walking around with.
One of the stories we were told, the younger brother who outlived the other brother, he was the last one to die in 1970. For a while, he had to stay at the hospital. And when they brought him in, They had to cut his clothes off of him.
Oh.
He'd been wearing the same clothes probably for decades.
We had a nurse who lived in the 6th ward, and she came to one of our programs, and she said she had Mert in the hospital, and when he showed up they had to cut his clothes off him, but once they bathed him and got him cleaned up and put into a bed, she said he was so happy. She said he was the nicest, gentlest man.
The way his cousin described it was they had to give him 3 baths. First water was too thick to drink and too thin to plow.
You wanna, when we head in, I mean, we can probably go straight downstairs to the
Yeah,
basement,
let's start
right?
at the lowest level.
Work our way up. All right, here we go. Now this actually used to be a woodshed and a stable.
And
right
like a
here, this
carriage
part.
house where
Yeah.
they'd store their buggy.
Part we're in right now. And over here, where the equipment is, I'm gonna turn on the IR light. That's where the outhouse was. There's pretty much 2 seats.
2-seater right there, baby. That's high. That's luxury.
That I don't know if I would ever want to be around like,
Somebody
a
else.
friend or anything when they're using the can.
I still think we get a lot of work done sitting there doing our business and conducting business at the same time.
Jesus Christ. What is wrong with you? Oh my gosh. All right. So here's the main house. This is the original kitchen area.
This is the dry sink, which is basically just a basin with a hole in it.
They would put this bucket under there, and anytime they poured water in the sink, it would just drain into the bucket. Somebody's duty was to drain it, even though I don't think they did that often. Drain it, I mean.
Yeah.
Jeez. All right, we're going to start on the lowest level. We'll head to the basement. This is all soot because, again, they couldn't cut wood and everything, so they would take literally logs and put in the fireplace, and the log would be hanging out of the fireplace, and as the log burned, they'd keep on feeding it in as they could. So there's soot throughout the whole house. I mean, right up to the attic. It's covered up there.
Covered.
So, all right.
Do you have a flashlight?
I do.
I'm going to grab one quick.
In the fireplace, just to show you guys, this is the stove. It's not the original. Well, it could be the original stove. Nobody knows. They used to feed it up through there. All right, and the fireplace was actually in here, and they would just sit in here and feed the log in. Watch yourself. Yep.
Steep steps, low overhang. It's a
Now-
tricky combination.
Yeah. Now, if you see, they have pens down here. They would keep animals down here in the house, right under the house. You can't tell me, first off, I mean, they hadn't showered or anything that long or anything else, wearing the same clothes. You can't tell me they were cleaning up down here after the animals.
It's a good question. Were they hauling the manure out on a daily basis? Probably not. Probably not.
And I've been in barns and stuff. I mean, they could stink.
Oh, yeah.
So
That
can
is
you
not
imagine-
a pretty smell.
Just imagine the smell.
But
of it.
but people that do it, first of all, I have a tremendous amount of respect for
Oh, my
farmers.
gosh.
My God, talk about work. But the people that do it, they kind of grow numb to the smell. So this is where during the tour you had something fly at your head. So
Yeah, right over where you are.
we don't know what that was.
I don't know. It could have been a huge fly.
The whole thing is dirt floor.
Yeah, it creates a hell of a mess.
Mm-hmm.
This log has been eaten up.
Is there anybody here with us? Can you tell us the story of these stalls down here in the basement of the house? Is there anybody here?
Mert, we were told that your mom's dying request was for you to never wed and to take care of your brother Fred. And we heard you honored that request. It must have taken a lot of strength. And Fred was the older brother. Mert was the younger brother, and Fred ended up falling off a horse or something and ended up getting damage to his brain. So they said he wasn't quite right.
He wasn't able to care for himself
Yeah.
completely.
So the mom had requested that Mert take care of Fred. So they never buried any children. They never.
Yeah.
Is there anybody who'd like to talk to us?
Is anybody here with us at all? Can you make a noise?
Jim, you used to do reenactments here.
Well, when I was in school, they had the bicentennial, it's 1976, and they made all the elementary kids dress up in either British uniforms or colonial type uniforms. They made these wooden muskets. We all marched to this area. This was the focal point of this whole thing, and we had a reenactment of a quote unquote battle. I don't know what battle it was supposed to be. But all the British guys lined up on one side and all the colonial guys lined up the other side, and they walked at each other. And it was a big battle reenactment of a bunch of little kids. I still have the musket that they made for that.
It's wild.
That's pretty cool. I think a lot of communities did stuff like that for the bicentennial. Canandaigua do anything like that?
I don't know. I mean, I was
Five?
5. I mean, actually, probably 4. Yeah, I was 4, not even 5 yet.
Yeah, oh, that's right, because your birthday's late.
Yeah.
Mrs. Clough and Mrs. Reese, who were here to guide us through the tour and all of that, were talking fondly about it. And I guess they're going to do some kind of, for the 250th, which will be next year, 2026, they're going to do something to remember that event in 1976.
I think your whole class should come back together and reenact.
Could you imagine us trying to do that now, walking across the field?
I mean, there's like nothing, no noise.
It's oddly still down here. Don't you feel it's like completely, it's like no energy at all?
Yeah, just like nothing. Just
really quiet.
I mean, you just don't hear anything. Well, I hear the
dehumidifier, yeah.
But that's
it's weird because I don't know. I guess a lot of the original components, I guess, of these stalls have been removed. The main walls still exist, but there's no gates, no fencing, none. So you can't really tell exactly what these were used for. You can't tell. You'd think there'd be an area for chickens. That's be a pretty common livestock to have.
Well, we're gonna head up to the main floor. Hey. Footsteps. You heard? I did hear footsteps. It was obvious footsteps too. So
Did that sound like it was following us up the steps?
Look. It's going again.
Did it sound like it was following us up the steps from the basement?
I don't know. It sounded like it was on this floor. No, loud.
It was real loud, very loud.
I just want to walk around the property.
Okay.
Sure there's like nobody around us. No.
Okay. You want me to follow you?
You might want to, just because I'll lose your audio if you don't.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to turn off IR. There's nobody here. That noise came from in the house. I mean, us coming out here is just silly, but I mean, we got to check for anything. I mean, there's nothing hitting the roof, so it's not coming from up there.
What do you think? Do you think those trees were here 200 years ago?
Oh, I think some of them were, yeah.
They look like it, don't they?
I don't know why. I don't know where it was coming from. And the thing is, there's not always, very rarely are there people here. They only show up for events and things like that. So, I mean, there's been experiences, but they're not like endless experiences just because it's a rarity that they're here. But it's just footsteps. There's nothing touching the roof.
No.
I can see. Definitely wasn't the sound of a tree anyway.
It'd be a stretch for that sound to sound like what we just heard.
You know what we should probably do? Do you want to do that sense shift experiment here on this floor where we're getting a sound? I mean, see if
This would be a good
just
place to
one
do
of
it.
us in here, totally isolated, camera set up, see if we're able to get that again. What do you think?
Oh, I think this would be a good place to do it. I think that just given, again, with all the memorabilia and artifacts that are here, the energy associated with them, plus what we just heard, I think this is a good place to do it.
All right, why don't we get set up for that? And I'll go first.
Okay.
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so what we're doing here is what we like to call sense shift. What we're doing is we're trying to shift our senses to heighten our other senses. So
Really, it's more of a way to shift our brains to focus on different senses in our body.
instead of using things like a voice box or anything like that, we're doing it this way because if we take away our vision, we're paying more attention to our audio, to our ears. We're paying more attention to our senses. And then after a little while, we remove that sense, our ears as well, and we just got to deal with what we're feeling. You're going to head outside?
I'm going to grab my sandwich and go out.
Okay.
And eat it and leave you alone for at least a half hour, whatever you want to do.
Yep.
Just let me know.
I'm good to go.
Okay, cool.
All right. So it's always so weird when we do it. And it's the second time we've done it, but I mean, it's creepy. All right. Can you just kill those lights on your way out? Thanks, bro. All right. If there's anybody here, my name is Jason. I'm originally from Canandaigua, New York. Thank you for allowing me into your home here in Oneonta. Can you tell me anything that you can remember? Is there a Mert or a Fred here? Is there anyone from the Swart family here? If so, can you say something to let me know you're here? Is there anyone from the Wilcox family here? Are you happy that they've been fixing up the house? What do you remember? Sound like a door. What do you remember? What were some of the last things you remember? Do you know about the little girl who passed away on the property? She was buried in the back. They've moved her grave. They found her coffin and moved it to a cemetery with her other family.
Myrtle was 5 years old when she died here, and she was buried on the property, but her whole family is now buried behind the Presbyterian Church at the Riverside Cemetery.
Myrtle died of moroseness, meaning she did not want to get out and do things. She evidently had something like a brain tumor or something affecting her eyes, her vision, her stability. And so she died in the house in that downstairs room. But she was buried out behind the barn, and they put 4 chestnut posts on the corners of her grave, and then they put a chain from rope to rope to post to post to post. And this was to protect the area and keep it special. And so it was until 1968 when Mert, the youngest son, was in Fox Hospital. He spent his last year there. And they came to him and said, we'd like to move her to the spot where the rest of the family was, and he agreed. So she was there until the last of the family left. She was one of the last of the family to leave. And he wrote in the December 31st, the year before she died, we're hoping for a better year for Myrtle next year.
Can you tell me what really happened to her? There were claims she died of sadness. Okay. Sounds like somebody moving on my left. If there's somebody here, please feel free to come in. Again, my name's Jason. I'm not here to upset you. I'm here because it's such a beautiful property and I'd love to know the history behind it. Oh, there was just a voice. It's not a female though. Hello? Did you just say something? Did somebody just say something? You're welcome to come in. Sit down. There's other chairs in here. Are you able to see me? Are you able to hear me? Oh, voice. Hello? Movement. What the hell was that? Hello? Jim? Hello? That was a male voice. If that was you, please come in. I can't see you. I heard you. Can you say that again? I heard you say something just a minute ago. I can't make out what it was. Can you repeat that? It sounded like somebody just moved something. All right, so I think the weirdest part about this is the fact that you can't see anything. These glasses are totally blacked out. What the hell? It sounds like somebody moving something. I heard a male voice. I heard a female voice. I've heard footsteps, and I've heard what sounded like somebody moving something. I hate this part. I think the hardest part of this experiment is getting past the part of feeling so vulnerable, because I can't see anything. I can't hear anything. So you feel like at any point something could come into your face or hit your body. So you're sitting there like this, or you want to just do this half the time. Can you touch my hands, my arm, my legs? Are you happy that people have been trying to fix this house up? That people come to see it and spend time here? I don't know if you're aware, but this right now is the oldest house in Oneonta. It stood the test of time. What was the last thing you remember? Can you touch any of my hands? I'm going to take off the headphones now. I'm going to take off the glasses. With the glasses on, you hear so much more because that's what you're listening to more. You're really relying on your hearing, and then with the headphones and the glasses on, you constantly feel like bugs or something are touching the hair on your arms, because that's what you're paying attention to at that moment. You're really focused on if anything's touching you. Thank you for your time. Beautiful house, and we appreciate you allowing us in to spend time here.
Okay, how'd it go?
It was interesting. I heard walking, I heard movement, I heard what sounded like a female voice at one point, and that sounded like it came from upstairs, so it didn't sound like it came here. But there was 100% like a male voice, and then it sounded like another male voice, and it sounded like it came from that direction. And that's when I had the goggles on.
Okay.
And then when I put the earphones on, you just feel like bugs are touching your skin, like your hair in your arm, because you're trying to pay so close attention to it. But there was definitely sound like walking, sound like something being dragged, woman, female voice, and male voice. And it was there, so
wow.
I would hope it showed up in here.
Now, do you think those were sounds that were coming from the house somewhere, or do you think they were somehow being placed into your head?
I think those are sounds that came from the house.
Okay.
Yeah. because I only had and when you put the glasses on, because they're blacked out, every bit of your focus is on what you're hearing, what you're hearing and what you're feeling.
Right.
So it's funny because the minute you take the glasses off, it's almost like sound just goes back down. The minute you put them on, give yourself
It's like somebody turns up a volume.
Yeah,
now.
the minute you put them on and you give yourself a minute or two, it's like everything is amplified. It's just everything is there, which I like, because that's, we're relying more on those senses and trying to pay attention, and we're hearing things that a lot of times we wouldn't hear when we have our normal vision going. But I mean, there were definitely those sounds. We'll have to go back and review this.
Okay.
I wanted to put up a digital recorder. I totally forgot about it. They were loud. They were loud sounds. I think loud enough to. Where were you? Were you in the vehicle?
I was eating my sandwich out at the picnic table, and then it started to rain, which it's still doing, and so I got in the car.
I don't know if you want to do the same thing here. Or you want to do it somewhere else?
No, I think I want to do it in the same spot.
You want to do it in the same spot?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the only change I'm going to make is I'm going to bring my REM pod in and just set it up.
Okay.
Just to see if that picks up anything.
I've got the goggles and the headphones. They're right here.
Okay.
How you feel?
But I have done a couple things differently here. So I do have the REM pod just to see if we get any fluctuations there that can be picked up by it.
Okay.
I have a thermal camera to my left, exactly where you put the audio recorder. It's the same spot.
All right.
And that'll catch anything this way. Beyond that, it's the same. I'm just going to sit here. How long were you here for? About a half hour?
Yeah, about a half hour.
Okay.
I think with just the glasses on for like 15, and then I had the glasses on for like 15.
Okay. You're going to go out in the truck or something?
Yeah, I'll head out in the truck. You'll be all set.
All right, cool.
All right, man.
Okay, Jay's leaving the building. I'm going to let him get out. Once again, we're at the Swart Wilcox house. This is the oldest structure in the city of Oneonta. And it's really the oldest structure in the whole area. It's been here, built in 1807. There was a log cabin here prior to that, built by the same family. They built the log cabin first, and then they eventually built this house in 1807. It's had a few families in it. The last people to actually live in this building, the last one died in 1970. So for many years it was unoccupied. It was owned by the city. Why the city bought it and then just let it fall apart, I'm not sure. But eventually a group of teachers, several of whom were actually worked in the schools that I went to. One of them was the librarian. We interviewed her, Helen Reese. The other one we interviewed before we began this investigation is Debbie Clough. She was a teacher, but she was also the mother of one of my best friends from high school. Okay, so I just reset this. So in addition to picking up what it normally does, it's also set to pick up temperature fluctuations. So I've got a thermal camera to my left, and I've got the REM pod here. There's an audio recorder near the thermal camera. We've got two cameras focused on me, and I'm going to begin. We're going to see what happens. Jay's already been in here, and now we're going to see what I get. These goggles completely black out vision. They are sealed around the eyes, so you get no light. You see nothing. Hello, my name's JV, and I'm a guest in your home. This home was a very important structure to several families. You lived here, you farmed the land here, you conducted business here, you were born here, and some of you died here. And now I'm a guest here, and I would appreciate to get a sign that you're still here in this beautiful home and to learn more about your time here. So I'm going to sit quietly a little bit. I'll ask some questions along the way. I think I can hear the rain a little bit. Is anybody here? Myrtle, are you here? Sounds like a little bit of movement over there. Not sure. My name's JV. I was born and raised in Oneonta. You didn't have electricity in this home, yet you lived here and were happy here. No running water, right through a time where almost everybody had those conveniences. I'm getting a real ringing in my ear right now, high-pitched ringing, and it stops, piercing for a moment. I'm listening very, very carefully. If there's any way you can make a noise or say something that I can hear. Can you talk to me? I can't see anything. It's pitch black. Phoebe, Henry, Fred, Merton, are any of you here? High-pitched ringing in my ear first before anything else happened. It's not doing it now, but it was actually kind of piercing at first, the kind of thing where you want to put your hand up to your ear. And so far, I've had no sensations on my body. Like I haven't felt like I've been touched or any tingling or anything like that. But I'm gonna put the headphones on in a second to eliminate my ability to hear in here as well. So I'm gonna put something over my ears right now. Whew. Okay, so now I cannot hear and I cannot see. I can barely hear my voice. I hear it because it's vibrating my head. If you're here with me, can you touch my arm? Either one is fine. I feel something on my leg. Are you touching my leg instead of my arm? I feel something on my leg. Are you touching my leg instead of my arm? This wasn't as intense as when we did it at the Huntington Library for me. However, I did go through a period where I had a headache. Listen, I've got allergies. You know that. It could have been sinus related. Who knows? I mean,
But it's like in the front of your head, though?
in the front of my head.
Yeah. Sometimes I get that every so often doing it, too. And it's like, I don't know, pressure headache or what.
Yeah, you don't know if is it because you're focused so hard and your brain is shifting its attention to different senses. If that's what it's doing, I don't know.
And that might be. But I find when I was sitting there earlier, I was doing this because you feel like your face is vulnerable.
Yeah, very.
So I kept on doing this, like putting my hands up, like just trying to protect my face.
Yeah, very.
Thought I heard a male voice, but it sounded like it came from this back room. And the only thing I wish we hadn't done, I wish I hadn't have told you initially.
Yeah, I know that was a mistake we made, but it's only the second time we've tried this system. So, but either way, I tried not to let that influence me. I definitely heard something.
Okay.
So whether it was male or female, we'll have to determine on playback.
All right. Yeah. No, that's awesome. I mean, we can check upstairs.
Yeah,
that's pretty much the last of the spots.
I think that's it. Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, cool.
Jason and JV heading to the second floor.
Up the ladder stairs.
The ladder stairs. Just it would have been an oven in the summer.
Yeah.
And an ice box in the winter.
Yeah.
You know, this like before fans, before any of that stuff.
Well, they had no electricity here, so they had nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing but open windows and closed windows. So the story of Myrtle is one we haven't explored too much. But well, depending on which version you read, 5-year-old girl that died from moroseness.
Which is sadness.
And was buried on the property and left here for 67 years before they moved her remains to an actual cemetery.
Without any other family members.
Yeah, alone. They dealt with death a lot differently back then because it was far more common.
Yeah.
And, okay, it's sad. And they just went out in the back and dug a hole. She had a copper casket, so it survived.
Yeah, they said it was in remarkably good shape.
Yep. But you wonder, this whole moroseness, what is that really about? And did she have a mental deficit or handicap of some point that they couldn't identify, couldn't diagnose at that point? Was there a physical ailment, a brain tumor or something that they didn't understand?
You don't hear of a child dying of sadness.
Wednesday the 31st. Was around home all day. Bought a new caster for a New Year present to my wife. The past year has been one of prosperity to me and my family, except my poor little girl, who has been troubled with sore eyes for the last 15 months. I hope and pray that she may be well before the close of the new year. Henry Wilcox, December 31st, 1873.
One of these rooms must have been her room.
Yeah, I mean, it's heartbreaking.
It is heartbreaking. Myrtle, are you here with us, Myrtle? Can you talk to us? Can you tell us why you were so sad? Can we help you? Is there a way we can help? We all go through points in our life where we're sad. You're not alone. Can you help us understand what you were going through?
So you got all this stuff in here.
Yeah, this is the archives or something.
Yes, dollies, old rectangle squares, large, round. That was a cough, dude. Oh.
That was a voice.
Jim, that sounded like it said Fred. Hello?
Is somebody here?
And then it sounded like a cough.
Yeah.
And then, I hate to say it, but it sounded like it said Fred.
Well, it was definitely a voice.
But the funny thing, it sounds similar to what I thought I heard when I was in the chair.
Really?
Yep, 100%.
Wow.
But it sounded like it was far away. It sounded like it came, I can't even say it came from up here because I'd say it sounded like it might have come from downstairs.
Well, we did learn earlier that the sound travels through this house really easily. So it could have been downstairs easily.
So I could wait it to the end of the night. Oh.
Did you hear it again?
Oh, it's another voice. You didn't just hear that?
I didn't know. I heard your steps were...
Oh, I was like, okay, and that didn't come from up here.
No, I was definitely not up here.
Hello? It's empty.
No, it's desolate. And it's been raining, so nobody's wandering out there.
That's why you never know. I mean, something can happen when you least expect it, like when you're looking at postcards in an attic. All right, so we're just wrapping the investigation here at the Swart's Wilcox house. And the strange thing is the majority of the night's been quiet. We did hear footsteps, sounded like somebody walking. Nobody was in here, and it happened numerous times. We decided to do the sense shift experiment, which is we're depriving our senses and trying to heighten the awareness of other senses. I had some weird experiences. I heard voices. I heard what sounded like a woman's voice, a male voice. It sounded like somebody walking, somebody moving stuff. I don't know. I don't know what to make of that. I need to analyze the evidence and really try to pinpoint what it was, if it was definitely sounds from in the house, if it was my mind playing tricks on me or whatever. JV ended up doing the sense shift experiment as well, but he was able to hear voices and movement as well. So it'll be interesting to try to put them together and just in comparison, see what shows up. But we were just investigating the upstairs at the second floor. And while we were up there, we were in the back room where they have a lot of the archives. And while we were up there, we were talking, and all of a sudden there was a voice, somebody walking, and then the sound of somebody coughing or something, and then what possibly sounded like somebody yelling the name Fred or something that similar to Fred, but we both heard it and we caught it. So we're going to analyze that and see what turns up. The nice thing is we have a good connection here, so we might be able to get back in here for more time and just see what we're able to find. But it went from being kind of a quiet investigation to all of a sudden a whole lot of things happening, and you never really know. And another part is that a random storm came out of nowhere. Now, did that storm help fuel the activity? That's a possibility. And we're trying to put all the pieces of the puzzle together and figure it out.
Anytime I get to do an investigation in my hometown, I get really excited about it, and this was no exception. This is the oldest home that exists, not just in Oneonta, but really from many miles around. And it went from being dilapidated and run down when the family members finally died off in 1970, and it became abandoned, to the point it is now, where 4 teachers decided to get together and restore this and create a living opportunity for people to come in and understand the history of the area. And we were able to investigate. We did a lot of different things tonight. We expanded on our sense shift experiment, where we deprived ourselves from sight and then hearing by using a blindfold, basically, and then canceling headphones on our ears. And Jason and I both had experiences. We talked about them a little bit, but we're going to watch the video and match them up a little bit more. There were voices. At one point, I had a little bit of a headache. I don't know if that was related or not, but it went away just as fast as it came. But either way, after we finished that experiment, a storm came into the area. We had some heavy rain. I'm sure there was some thunder and lightning in the distance. And Jason and I decided to investigate the second floor. We started talking about Myrtle, the little girl that died on the property of moroseness. And once we did that, we kind of got through a conversation about how we were really confused at how she actually died. We started hearing footsteps, and then a voice and a cough. I mean, a lot of stuff started happening all at once, and then it stopped as quickly as it happened. So again, it's all about looking at our footage, reviewing the evidence, seeing what we had in real time as we were experiencing it, and then we can come to some conclusions at that point. And I think Jason's right. We're probably going to try to get back here and do some more.
Subscribe now and step into the Paraverse.